Well, I just got back from town and made a quick trip in to get some kerosene because I was out. For about a week I've been out. And I know a time change is coming, so I figured I'd better get kerosene because the days will be getting shorter again. But, you know, I could get by without, but it's nice to have kerosene because that's what I use for lighting. You know, otherwise it's down to candles. Okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and I actually had a list one time, but I think I misplaced it. It's probably here. But I got enough stuff without even going into the list. First, I just saw a video Scruffy Jones put up. If you remember, I mean, she was Lady Garden Hoe at one time, and then she was Scruffy Jones. And for a while, she was just kind of crazy. But I think she's, you know, it's been a long road with her, real long road. But I think she's home now. I think she's where she needs to be. But years ago, I had sent her one of these canteens, and she showed it in her video, and she wasn't sure where it came from. What they are is Swiss Army. If you look on the bottom, you will see that the Swiss emblem is down there. They are a really great canteen, though she appears to be using it for a hot water bottle. But they've got a decent cup on them that I use on top of my little Coleman Army stove all the time. You know, it works really well. But nice, heavy plastic canteen. I've got a couple of these that I use all the time. They're just very handy. But that Swiss stuff is great stuff. You know, like the Swiss Army blankets. Great Army blanket. Another thing that I have, these Swiss Army backpacks. Now, you know, I see people buying these cheap-ass nylon backpacks while spending a lot of money on them. Boy, you can't beat these Swiss ones. I mean, it's an internal frame, but the straps are all leather, you know, with decent buckles and stuff. I mean, they're just a great backpack. They aren't real frilly. You know, it's the main body, and then there's one small pocket on the back. But great backpack. You know, and they've got tie-downs, you know, leather straps for tying like snowshoes or skis on. You know, they're hard to find, but once in a while they turn up, and when they do, you know, like I say, the whole bottom is all leather. You know, just they're heavy. They're a great backpack. But like I say, all that Swiss stuff has been really great. But it's good to see and hear from Scruffy again. But there again, she sent me a private message, and like I said before, the only way really that I can reply to them is either in a video or if you message me with the logcabinlooms at Gmail. That works really well. Okay. So much for her, though. So, like I say, it's been an interesting ride with her. When I was in town today, well, okay, first I'll go Winchester 32 Special. I've got it out because I'm actually going to put sling swivels on it because it just would be handy to have those on. But a channel that I've been mentioning, or wanting to mention for quite some time, is 303 Canadiana or something. I don't know exactly how he says it, but it's one of them small Canadian channels, and like I tend to watch a lot of Canadian channels. I mean, probably their interests are more in line with mine. But he had a video he had up about a 32 Special Winchester, and they are a great gun, partly because of they've got that slow twist in the rifling, and they work really well with cast bullets. And he was talking about using cast bullets in his, but the trick with the cast bullets, they're hard to find the right bullet. I've always thought about converting an 8mm mold to make a flat nose bullet, but I finally had broken down and I bought the RCBS bullet mold. Makes a 170 grain flat nose. They're not cheap. It helped I was able to use the Lee gang mold handles fit on them, so that saved a little money. But they throw a really nice bullet, and it works really well in this gun. Been very pleased with those. And he had mentioned his has got like a 3-shot magazine. You know, it's got the short magazine on it. But at the time, like say this gun actually came with this Williams Pete sight on it. But at the time, Winchester was doing a thing where you could pretty much order the gun any way you wanted it. You know, anything that you needed done, they would do it. It ain't that way anymore, or it would be a spendy proposition now. But it's nice. You know, it's nice that they used to do that. But that's where you'll see variations in like barrel length and magazine capacity and stuff. It all has to do with that you could get them the way you wanted them. But as far as I know, this RCBS mold is the only one that works, but it is like an $80 mold. But good mold, you know, and it throws a nice bullet, and they work really well. That's a nice caliber. You know, I've got nothing against it. The only problem I have is I tend to, if I'm really seriously going after something, I use a 4570 because I just like that more. I mean, that's sort of my favorite go-to gun always. So this one tends to get neglected, but I thought if I put a sling on it, make it easier to carry, I maybe would haul it around more. You know, because I do like lever actions. They're my favorite. I'm not that fond of bolt action rifles, though I do really, you know, have quite a few of them. But the one I really like is a Mauser. Now, okay, that's what that 765 or 675. That Mauser, that Argentine cavalry thing, you know, I've had trouble with the brass. I use this Norma brass was all I could find at the time, and I've had a lot of trouble with them splitting up on the neck. So I've been a little disappointed with Norma. You know, they've got maybe 10, 15 loads on them, and I guess, you know, a lot of people, that's all they expect. But I tell you, I'm spoiled. You know, in the Mosins, I run this Lapua brass, and what I've done now, I've got a lot of them that are well over 100, like 150 loads on them. What I do is I'll run them on my normal loads up to 100. When they get up to 100, then I set them back and use them. I set them aside and use them for my cast loads for the lighter stuff, and they just continue to work. You know, but that Lapua brass is excellent brass. Like I say, I got spoiled on it. So what I did when I was in town today, I picked up some 270 Winchester brass. Well, it's federal brass. But it's fairly common to take that 270 and shorten them and then move the neck down, the shoulder down on them. So I'll be doing that one of these days. Redo a few of those and try them. You know, I figured out it's worth the chance. And worst case scenario, my brother's got a 270 that I can always turn them over to him if they don't work out, you know, the leftovers. But they were pretty reasonably priced. You know, so I figured I'd give them a try. But I'm going to have to anneal them and then chop the neck off and then run them in the die and see what I can do. But that looks good to me. But to go back to that 32 Special, you know, I've always meant to mention that guy because, you know, that 303 Canadiana, because he's got a good channel, and it always bugs me when somebody's got a good channel and he's got like 30-some subscribers. Well, the way YouTube is set up now, it's hard for a small channel to ever grow. It takes a long, long time, you know. So look into him. I think you'd enjoy. I mean, he's got interesting stuff. I like good channel. One of them that when he puts a video up, I watch it right away. But I'll do a video on these when I go get around to shortening them. I'm curious to try it, but I got to charge up the battery on my DeWalt cut-off saw and nail them off first, and then I'll anneal them and I'll run them through, but that'll be a whole nother video. But hopefully they'll hold up better than, because these Norma have kind of disappointed me. Well, that's one question I know somebody did ask one time about brass, how many loads I get out of them. And like I said, the Lapua, great. Starline, great. The PPU stuff in the GOT has worked great. I've been really impressed with that. I know in the 4570 now I started using the Starline stuff, and that's been excellent. You know, that's good heavy brass. I really like that stuff. But I had tried the Winchester the one time, because that's all I could find. That's crap. I could only get about 7 loads out of them. And I tell you, like I say, I'm spoiled with that Lapua. I like to get at least like 50 loads out of them. But, you know, it depends on what you're happy with, they're satisfied with. But if you can get 100 loads, then you're looking at like a penny a time, because they're a little over $1 a piece. But well worth the money. You know, I'd sooner pay, you know, if I can get good brass, I'd sooner pay for it. Whereas this Norma stuff was pretty expensive. And I can't blame Norma completely. I mean, it might be that, you know, the profile on these, they've got a really sharp angle on the neck there, and that maybe contributes to it, you know, because I've heard good things about Norma brass, but like I say, for me, it hasn't worked out in this gun. I'd be curious sometime to get some for the Mosins and try it. Well, like I say, there was all kinds of other questions, but I better cut this off before it cuts itself off. But I know another channel was at Tim Ledoux, and he had just showed he had got a Mosin, and that's where I'm curious. This is actually the first one I ever got. It was my 42. And there you can see there's a kind of rough machining. Not as bad as some. I've seen some horrible ones. But it's kind of funny too. I was in Fleet Farm today and I looked, and the Mosins now, they're normally selling at 140 there. And it's kind of nice because then there's no FFLC and all that stuff. But they were on sale for 120. You know, so they aren't too bad, but most of mine I think I paid 70 for. I've got a half dozen of them. One of them I know I paid like 100 for, but that was a particularly nice one and I didn't want to wait for a sale. But, you know, I see them awful high price sometimes, you know, what people are getting for them. But I'll get to work and put my swing swivels on. And like I say, I'll do a video when I chop these down. Never done it before, but I'm sure I have the technology.